YouTube, Niner Empire, welcome back to another video. Different setup, as you guys can tell. We've got a mic now. We've got a camera up here on the monitor. Pretty much going to be filming videos at home on this setup. It's just easier. I don't really have to use my phone, but obviously when I'm not at home, I'm going to be still using this phone to film videos and whatnot. But that's kind of why I've been not really uploading in the past, 2-3 weeks now. Just decided to kind of upgrade some stuff. But either way, I kind of want to talk about the national media negativity towards Trey Lance. I'm sure, as you guys know, Emmanuel Acho from Fox Sports put out some things, said some things on his bottom tier talk show, Speak for Yourself. He basically said, Trey Lance, from everything I've heard from people within the locker room and outside the locker room, he, quote unquote, he just ain't it. He then went on to say there's a reason they call him One Play Trey, and there's a reason he only started 2 games last year, because he's just not like that. Well, Emmanuel Acho, I'm assuming this guy has no idea what it means to develop and play under a quarterback for a year or two. The 49ers knew going into last season that they could win with Jimmy G. He still had 2 years remaining on his contract. Obviously, the Niners felt as if it was better for Trey Lance for the future when it came to developing him and not starting him in front of Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance was 20 years old when he was drafted. He had just turned 21, I believe, a couple weeks or a couple months after he was drafted. He's my age. The fact that Emmanuel Acho is judging Trey Lance and kind of grading Trey Lance off of 2 games and him not really playing because he was sitting behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year or two is just mind-boggling to me. I'm not exactly sure either what he's hearing from people within the locker room. There hasn't been any negativity towards Trey Lance when it came to players in the locker room and whatnot. Now, obviously, the players are not going to come out and publicly bash Trey Lance. But at the end of the day, I think that I'm not sure who he's talking to in the locker room, but guys like Fred Warner, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, I mean, those guys have all praised Trey Lance. So when it comes to him hearing from people in the locker room that he's just not the guy, I would like to know who he spoke to or where his sources are. Now, people outside the locker room, not affiliated with the 49ers, have their own opinions, like Emmanuel Acho. So this kind of rubbed me the wrong way in a way. And look, when Jimmy G had those 5 really, really good games back in 2017, 2018, where he went 5-0 and the 49ers didn't ink him to that 5-year deal, Jimmy was still getting backlash. There's always going to be critics when it comes to a quarterback coming out of college. There's critics on Zach Wilson. There's critics on Tua Tagovailoa. For me, it just doesn't make sense as to why people can come to a conclusion that a guy's just not it. After he started 2 games, he was 21 years old when he played last year. He was sitting behind Garoppolo. He had a thumb injury that affected him all season, and Trey Lance even said that himself. So for Emmanuel Acho to say that he's just not the guy, and he's hearing from people within the locker room and outside of the locker room that he's not the guy, I just want to know who he spoke to, because from people inside the locker room, they've only praised him. Like I said, Kittle, Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Fred Warner's even praised him. George Kittle said that he's made plays that were mind-boggling in practice. Now, I get it's practice, and that's completely different from playing, in a live game. But I think the fact of it is, Emmanuel Acho judging Trey Lance off of 2 games he started, and in those 2 games he didn't play bad. One of the games, Kyle Shanahan ran him 18 times because that's when he had broken ligaments in his thumb. It's just not fair to Trey Lance. And Trey Lance isn't listening to these people, obviously. He's putting his head down, and he's been working throughout the entire offseason. But look, the bottom line is Albert Breer of ESPN kind of weighed in on the critics, and he basically said that, the good news is that Trey Lance has a good head on his shoulder. On his shoulders, he's smart, he's freakish athletic, he has freakish athletic gifts, and obviously he's going to work his tail off to where he needs to go. But look, Breer also mentioned that, he came into the league raw. He wasn't the most natural thrower to begin with. Obviously, he had significant ups and downs as a rookie, but I think the best bet here is that Kyle Shanahan will have to adjust his offense, in a way to make it work for Trey Lance in 2021. They've hired new coaches. They've got a new quarterbacks coach in Brian Grease, and I think that knowing how Kyle Shanahan is with quarterbacks, he's going to be able to showcase what, the best of what Trey Lance is at the stage as he grows in other areas. So, they're critics. There's always going to be critics throughout the league, but all I know is that Trey Lance is going to work his tail off. He's smart. He's got a cannon of an arm. And as long as he puts his head down and works, has the ability to understand defenses. And as the season goes on next season, I think Trey Lance will just improve. I don't think necessarily that Trey Lance is going to start. Now, he could surprise a lot of people here, and he could absolutely shock the NFL and be a complete stud, week 1 and week 2 and at the beginning of the season. But realistically speaking, Trey Lance is going to struggle. There's going to be weeks where he struggles and he throws interceptions and this and that. But the biggest thing is as long as he can understand and dissect film and understand, if he throws an interception, this is what I messed up. As long as he can understand when he makes mistakes, how to fix those. And this goes for every NFL quarterback. This is really kind of cliche to say, but he's a smart guy. When the 49ers drafted him coming out of North Dakota State, his psychological tests were off the charts. And among the best of that rookie draft class when it came to quarterbacks. And that's coming from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, two of some of the smartest minds in the NFL. Especially John Lynch. John Lynch is a very smart guy. He graduated from Stanford. Kyle Shanahan, knows what he sees and wants in a quarterback. And the bottom line is there's going to be critics. There's going to be people bashing Trey Lance. But at the end of the day, these guys don't know anything. They're on a talk show for a reason. And I think that it's just shitty on Emmanuel Acho's part to go out on a limb and say that he's just not the guy. He just ain't it because he didn't play in front of Garoppolo last season. Emmanuel Acho's a straight-up dumbass. I mean, if he doesn't understand that the 49ers didn't play him because Jimmy G was a good quarterback. I'm not saying Jimmy G is a great quarterback. He's good enough. He brought us to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Obviously, last season he got us to the NFC Championship. The bottom line is that nobody knows shit until the player's actually playing. And at the end of the day, I think Trey Lance is in one of the best positions as a first-year starter, going to be a first-year starter, to only have success. Now, like I said, he's going to struggle. There's going to be weeks that he throws interceptions, this and that. But at the end of the day, it's about how he bounces back from those and, moves forward and improves. So like I said, Trey Lance, he's got one of the best teams in the NFC. He's got a defense. He's got multiple weapons, hoping that Deebo Samuel obviously is re-signed. If Deebo comes back, Trey Lance is going to be in one of the best positions as a first-year starter to succeed. So we'll see what happens, but critics are already coming out saying that Trey Lance just isn't the guy. But at the end of the day, look at what the players are saying. Look what Kittle's saying. Look what Fred Warner's saying. That's kind of really what matters. They're with Trey Lance every day. Emmanuel Acho is a no-life talk show host that is saying mind-boggling shit to get views and clicks for his career, and that's really what it comes down to. But obviously, I have nothing but belief in Trey Lance. I think he will be a great quarterback in the league, and there's really no worries for me. Obviously, you can talk about his accuracy as a passer and all that, but that stuff comes, as he plays. The only thing that Trey Lance needs as of now is just reps, and it's looking like that he'll be taking over. I would hope so. He's going to be starting next year at QB1, but obviously Jimmy G's still on the roster. We don't know what's going on with that. For the most part, I think that they're planning on Jimmy G to be traded June or July after he kind of heals fully from that shoulder surgery. And then obviously it'll be Trey Lance's team. And as I said, I mean, he's in one of the best positions to succeed as a first-year starter.